Good evening and welcome to Quilt World, and I believe this is Floss Tube number 11, and thank you for joining me tonight. It is Tuesday evening, and I'm not quite sure when I'll get this put up, but hopefully it'll be in a timely fashion. I wanted to come to you tonight before I put away my fall things. I'm kind of in the process of doing that, and I have a few things, stitcheries to show you, and I actually have a couple final finishes. Kind of excited about them. And let's see, got a little haul, thrifting haul, and and we have a couple prizes. I drew for the 2 giveaways that I had last time, and I actually have another giveaway for this time. So you just hang on, and we'll get to that in good time. I don't believe I'm not doing any sewing tonight. I've got enough stuff here. I think it's going to take up the time. And then I had a friend text me about wanted to know about 30 count linen, and I kind of gave her an answer and she didn't understand it, so I thought I might talk a little bit about that tonight. Whether it'll be a good enough explanation to help her understand, I'm not sure, without being in person. Sometimes you need to have the cloth and all of that, but I will do my best anyway. Well, it's good to be with you, and what have we been doing? We have been going to Ames a lot. We have a couple grandsons down at Iowa State, and they both sing. They're good singers, and one sings in the Iowa Statesman, and the other one is the Iowa State Singers. They're 2 different groups. The one is in a men and women's group, and the other one is all men. So kind of totally different, and but both enjoyable. So we have gone 3 of the last 4 Sundays we've been in Ames. So that's kind of taken up our time. And then we also had a grandson that was in a play in Bellevue in the Sound of Music last week. So we got to go and enjoy that. And that was a fun evening, getting to share that with their family. We have 4 daughters, and 2 live local, 1 lives over by Dubuque, and then 1 lives in Tennessee. So we do get to see the local kids, a fair amount, although they're spreading their wings. So they're not so close by as they used to be. But we enjoy being with them, Halloween and on weekends and special occasions, all of that. Well, I'm going to get into it because we have a lot to show, and I'm hopefully I don't have like where I got or patterns for all of this stuff. And then I brought down a couple things, and then I thought, I think I've already showed this. So forgive me if I didn't remember, and I showed this say a couple times ago. But I think most of this you have not seen. So let's get to it. Well, I should start with what's behind me. I got that, the final borders put on that on Saturday. So I didn't quite make October 31st, but I made November 1st. How's that? So that top is all put together. There is a ton of sewing in that, but what a cute piece. So I don't know that if I'll get to the quilting of it or not. I may just end up putting it away, for next year. next summer, maybe quilt it next summer or something, so it's ready for fall. I am still having, well, since the last time, that was the other thing. I'm still having trouble with my long arm. I forget whether I talked about this before. And then my main machine went down again. I had it fixed this summer, and I wasn't working on that. I was working on a t-shirt quilt that's for a customer, and it just, well, I was not even sitting here at the machine. I was across the room at my cutting table, and all of a sudden the presser foot started going up and down, and the needle started going up and down, and I wasn't here. Not a good sign. And the unfortunate thing is, I turned it off, you know, let it, whatever, reboot. I did that several different times over probably 12 hours, and it just still, the screen acted up. So I took it in to get it repaired, and of course it didn't do it for him. So I have a feeling I'm not done with that. But I have sewn on it. Well, I did finished up that. But yeah. And then my long arm still does need another repair. And I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to get that in. They're going to call me. They're really not doing any repair work right now, which I don't really even want to talk about it. I am kind of frustrated with Nolting right now. Yeah, Jeff and I have spent hours working on it, adjusting it, and getting it so I can at least run it, but I don't trust it. So it's kind of stressful. So yeah, it's not been a good season with the long arm, and just a little frustrated with Nolting and how they have not cared for their customers. So I'm sure I'm not the only one, and not a good thing. So anyway, okay, back to enough whining. Oh golly, it's been a deal. Here is this little couple. Aren't they cute? And I'm not sure what this cloth is called. Let me see if I can see. I want to say Herta. Does that sound right? I don't know. It says 11 count. I was thinking it was even 7 or 8. Oh, Clawstern. I don't know if that's what this is, though. Mushroom. 7 count. This is from, and I think this is an out of print deal. From the Needle Love Company. And I have done the Pilgrims, which are here, and then these two. I haven't done the bunny or the witch or the angel. I don't know. Those don't appeal to me so much, frankly. I like the other two. So that is from the Needle Love Company Holiday Friends. Aren't they sweet? Super cute. And I've stuffed them, and then with like polyfill, and then I'm pretty sure I have walnut shells here at the bottom to kind of weight them. The bottom, and then I made a boxed corner bottom. I did these several years ago, so I've had those a while. But they're super cute. Now the thing is going to be, where am I going to put this stuff to keep it out of my way after I show it to you? Oh, and then I did bring this down, just super cute. I don't really have a lot of Halloween stuff. I gave most of my Halloween stuff to my kids. I did that quite a few years ago. I just decided I wanted just to do fall and not so much Halloween. But one day I do like Tim Holtz stuff, and his videos are very lengthy and very involved. But I have several things that are his. So one day I had this little thing that made these boxes, and they look like, you know, vintage costume boxes. So I covered one of his little wooden boxes, and then there's a little couple in there, and then it's got a little bale of straw with a pumpkin. I didn't really have a lot of little Halloween stuff, and my original intent was to put, he came out with these little pumpkins. Aren't they cute? And that's rock candy on them. And he's got little Santa mugs that are like this, that look like those vintage ones, if you like that kind of stuff. And then you can coat them with either rock candy or, oh shoot, I can't think what the other glitter. He's got two glitter. The rock candy you can see is very chunky. So I did this one with rock candy. And my original intent was to, you know, to stick it inside this thing, but it just looked too big. It didn't look right. So I kind of pivoted and did something different. But this turned out super cute. And then I just did a piece of paper on the back and one of his papers and added a little thing and just glued it. This was like a fast and quick, and so was this with the little pumpkin. Oh my gosh, super cute. And I bet you could still come up with these if you wanted to, like to do it for next year. Super easy. And his videos will show you, you know, how to do it. Just look up rock candy or the little pumpkins and you'll come up with it, I'm sure. Here is, and I don't really have any information. This was a little kit, and I think it came with an estate, a bunch of estate stuff that I got several years ago. And it didn't come like with all this stuff. It was just like the piece of linen and some floss and a chart. And then I finished it on like a little breadboard from Hobby Lobby. But this is a nice way to finish small little pieces. But I have put this up on my fall tree. I keep a tree up year round and decorate it. So the fall stuff just came off today because I'm working my way to Christmas here. I like to have my Christmas stuff done by Thanksgiving, so then I get to enjoy it for the whole month of December, and I'm not working on it. So anyway, but it turned out so cute. I love this finish, and that's a covered button. Here's just some little, those are some little leaves that you could get at Hobby Lobby, and then of course some fancy ribbon. This is wired ribbon. I like wired ribbon because it stores well, and all you have to do is fluff it out and make it, you know, look how you want it to look, and it just, you know, just comes back to life just really well. This is, I've got several stitching with the housewives things. I love their finishes. Their finishes are so clever. And I don't always necessarily do exactly what they do, but maybe kind of take off and do a version of it. And this was a wood piece that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I think they had done it. This is on, I don't know if this is 18 or 22. It looks pretty small. This could be 20 count, 22 count, not sure. Because that's a lot smaller. I think the original piece was supposed to cover this whole thing. And that is called Bringing Home the Turkey. It's in their Sassy Strippers series, and you can get that as a download PDF. There it is. And there you can see how she finished it and how it fills it. So that would have been done on 14 count. And then I changed it slightly. And then I glued this little rolling pin to the bottom. And so it's similar, but yet a little different. So, and that is Bringing Home the Turkey. Okay, and then this one is called Autumn Leaves. This is an older one. I think this was right when I first kind of found them. It's a they call it Dapper Doodad. And this is when, well, she was doing these square pieces. And I love this. I've got it written on the back. I use it for the fresh balsam. So I'll use it for Christmas. See, I don't even glue it in. It's just sitting in there. I make it, and then this is magnetic. So I have a topper that I put on there, you know, for Christmas. That'll be with my Christmas stuff. And so I just pop it in there, and I've written on the back what goes in here, so I remember what goes in there, and it just saves another finishing piece. And I'm sure I got this on clearance. You know, this is an inexpensive piece, but super fun. Super fun. And they're not so involved stitching too. So that one is called Autumn Leaves, and it looks like that. And then the next one I'll show you is called Gobble Gobble. And it's this one. And I just pulled it right out of my 3-ring binder. That I keep them in, you know, with, I think this is in the autumn section. And this is pretty sure I got this piece at Dollar General. And I like this. Now I don't have, you know, any embellishment on it. I just left it plain. But I don't know. You know, sometimes I embellish stuff, and then this one I felt like it didn't really need it. And I think I painted it black. I don't know what it was originally, but I liked it because it stands up by itself. Here's what the back looks like. I did write on the back what it is. This is on 14 count Ada, two strands of floss. And that's Gobble Gobble by Stitching with the Housewives. It's very cute, very cute. And this is the one, I can't remember if I showed you this already. And if I did, sorry. This is a scarecrow. I'm pretty sure it was a series in either Leisure Arts or For the Love of Cross Stitch, one of those magazines. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know which issue. And I filled this one with walnut shells. So this is solid walnut shells. And in some ways, to me, they're easier to fill solid. It takes a lot of walnut shells than it does to do the partial with the either wool roving or polyfill, and then try and do the bottom. I don't know. But this is 14 count. I don't know if this is oatmeal. You know, it's like a tan Ada. 2 strands, but super cute. And I did that in 2020. That's when, right before the pandemic, I kind of started getting back into cross stitching. And so I was working on projects kind of hot and heavy, starting then. And then let's see here. Where else do I want to go from here? Oh, let's do him. And I can't think who wrote this pattern. It's a big old pumpkin, and I made it several years ago, and each section is kind of its own project because there's sections of Crazy Patch, and then there it says autumn. So those are embroidered flowers, hand embroidery, and then here's some patchwork, and then here's wool work and embroidery. You can kind of see all the embroidery, and then here's another Crazy Patch. And I'd use decorative stitches on my machine. You know, I love doing that. And then here, look at those fancy little flowers. Aren't they cute? And there's some bead work, just all kinds of stuff. And I put this out, and here's this great big old stem, the cording, and it's a good size piece. But I always love having this out every year. And I can't think what pattern. I should know the name, but again, I'm not very good with names. Oh, and for all of you, bless you. My goodness, we're over 500 subscribers. I've jumped from I don't know what, which is shocking to me. And I don't even know how you guys got past the ugly thumbnail picture. Oh my word. So what? YouTube picks the most disgusting frame in the whole video, and that's what it sticks up. Oh, and if I did in the editing, and I just don't want to go into that because I don't have time. I have enough things I want to do. I don't really want to spend hours editing a video. Sorry, but I just don't. But anyway, bless you that you even get past that. It used to be they gave you a choice. I mean, you could pick. Well, I don't see that on my phone, at least when I go to upload it. This is new. I just did this, not this last weekend, the weekend before. This was 3 football games. And Iowa, I think I did it during the Iowa game, and then a couple pro football games. And this, remember the candy corn fabric I got at Fiberworks, and I had time to do one candy corn, and this was the piece what I ended up doing. This is called Peter Pumpkinhead, and this is, again, it's stitching with the housewives. So there's the pattern. Peter Pumpkinhead. And so instead of finishing like I did, I just had a bigger piece, and then I found a candy corn shape and then centered it on there, and then just made a stand up. This has fiber fill at the top and walnut shells at the bottom. I will say, if I make another one, I'm going to try and round this just more. It's a little more pointy than I would have liked. It's not terrible, but I will do that for the next one, I think. And I did change a few things. I filled in, she had these spots, kind of those curves, empty. I filled them in. And then I did different thing with the face too because of the color of the Ada. And this is a 14 count. And I did 2 strands on this. Yeah. So, turned out pretty cute. I love it. It's kind of nice to do, you know, something fast and fairly simple. So, that'll be fun to put out next year. All right. Now I've got, let's see here. Let's do that giveaway winners. Let's do that here quick. And then I've got one giveaway, and I'm going to wait till towards the end to do that for next time. Okay. Where is my little slip? Oh, here. Okay. For the Christmas preparation at the barn. The winner of this is Kim Phillips, 7903. So if that is you, and you know what? I was going to look that up. Shoot, how to contact me. Well, isn't that a fine kettle of fish? Why don't you see if you can message me through YouTube? Okay? I should have checked that. That was one of the things I meant to check before I did this, and I forgot that today. See if you can't. I think you can message me through not Facebook, through YouTube. Okay, and with your address, physical address, and I will get this in the mail to you. Kim Phillips. Okay, and then for the autumn time, and it's a pillow. I made mine into a quilt, but you could certainly make it into a pillow. At Ramjet PWR1. So if that is you, contact me through YouTube with your physical address, and I will get this in the mail to you. Okay? And if I do some looking and I don't see where somebody can do that, I may be able to do a short video and kind of figure that out and tell you what's what. But let's try that, okay, first. Okay, let's see. Where do I want to go next? Well, I guess I'll show this. This is right on top. I made these several years ago. Quite a few years ago when the grandkids were young. And I want to say these are from Molly Mind, but they might not be. If you want to know, ask and I will look it up, okay? And tell you where these are from. She has a Halloween, they're like, this is a puzzle is what this is, but she has like soft color cover, oh, what do you call it? To-do books, where you do get to do all these fun things. And she has one for Halloween, Christmas. I've done more than that. Easter, maybe? But she does do them for every month, and I did the whole set for my grandkids. And so I get them out. They don't do them anymore, but I use them as decoration now. But maybe some great grandkids will get to do these. And if I can, whoa, whoa, whoa. That was the cover. And let's see if I can get this up here without it all. There. I won't tip it straight up because I think it'll fall off. But the felt pieces make that picture. And here, I'll try and lift off a piece, and it's got a line underneath. So, you know, it gives the kids a guide. So there's a leaf line there. And, you know, then it lines up to what, yeah, and I dropped a piece. I'm not going to be able to hold it up, but, and then here I can tell a little kid must have put these away. They were all wadded up in the pocket. So they almost, I should have stopped and ironed them all, but I didn't really want to take the time. But then that shows you like the embroidery. And there's the back. There are 2 pieces of felt. So and they've got, I don't know if that's got interfacing in it or not. I think the cover does. And I'll show you the cover again. And then you store the pieces in that pocket. So you can see some kid had just wadded them all up in there. So they were kind of, they don't lay down, you know, as nice as they should. But isn't that cute? So if you have little ones and have a embroidery machine, these were super fun to do. And the kids loved them. The grandkids just loved them. And so I have them for each month. And so like I just put away September, October, and then I brought this one down to show you. So anyway, okay. Well, I'm going to go on to my final finishes here, and then I've got some haul. And then I'm going to talk just a little bit about this cross-stitch fabric from my friend and hope that answers your questions and makes sense, okay? Remember this one? I was working on this. Feels Like Fall, most of all. This is by Brenda Gervais. And I am doing the series. This is the second one I finished. I did the patriotic one, and it's up on my wall upstairs. And here is this one. Isn't this fun? It turned out so nice. I just love it. Get it up here so you can see the colors, and just love it. And the frame, this is a thrifted frame. My husband cuts them down for me and puts them together, and I just love the coloring on that frame. It's like kind of honey color, and then it's got a little bit of green here, so it, you know, it picks up kind of that olivey green. And this is done on 20 count vintage country mocha. I use the called for floss, and it's 1 strand. So the only thing we haven't put on it is the little hanging thing. We need to do that so I can hang it up. But it turned out so nice. I just love it. And then the other one I was working on was the Gather In. And this is Plum Street. Not a new one, 2020. It came out. And this frame I just picked up at the thrift store last week. Got a couple little threads there. Not sure what that came from. Okay, and this is done on 16 count lichen and 1 thread. And I used the called for colors, and there it is. And this thread this frame I picked up at Camp Courageous garage sale that that's in Manchester. When we were going over to Bellevue to our grandson's play the other night, we went earlier in the day, and so we had time to stop there, and I found several things. And this frame, I just thought, when I saw it, I thought, oh, I think this would look absolutely stunning with this picture. And it does. It just does. And I did change wording on here. I didn't do, there was a little section of green down here. I didn't do that. And I've got a little story. This is stitched after my Grandma Ruth, who taught me to sew and taught me to crochet. And she was my mother's mother. And I went looking in my genealogy notebooks for somebody, one of my grandmas that maybe was on a horse. I had a picture of a horse. Well, here I found some writings that she had done about her earlier life. And she wrote about how she loved the horses. And I had no idea. And she even talked about her dad even let her cultivate a little bit with the horse. And they had two horses, Bessie and Babe. And so that's why I decided just to use, there's not two horses, so I just did Bessie. And instead of the wording that was up here, I did Ruth of the Schmidt farm. And I just thought, oh, but I couldn't believe that when I found that entry where she had written about how she liked the horses. And I thought, oh, this is perfect. So I want to photocopy her writing about that and stick it in the pocket back here where I've got my information. And I've told you about those before. They're like little library cards, and I put all my information on there. So I was just, it was pretty exciting. And that was the first notebook I even looked at. So to come up with that, I thought, oh, that's neat. So we tied this piece to my Grandma Ruth. And don't know if she grew pumpkins or not, but I don't really care. But oh, I love this piece. I've loved this chart ever since I saw it, and it's a lot of stitching. So you look at it and you think, oh, do I want to do all that stitching? But I really enjoyed working on it, and it's just lovely, just lovely. So I can't wait to, put it up somewhere. So that is the Gather In. All right, let's see. Move to another pile here. I've got stuff everywhere. Okay, now let's do, well, I'm going to jump to a little bit of haul here. Some of this is thrifted, and then, and I didn't bring everything down that I got that way, but I got some paper, ledger paper at the thrift store. I put that up in my paper nest, and some paper doilies, and oh, I'm trying to think, what else did I get that I left up there? Oh, some red and green lace, because I thought, oh, if I do like for a Christmas journal, that would have been nice for that. So I had a girlfriend. She had made, I think she made both of them. I don't know if she made both or one, but she gifted me this bunny pattern out of wool, and because it was so cute, so cute. And so that'd be fun to do next spring. Aren't they darling? And this is by the Woolen Needle, called Sunday Best. Super cute. So I'll put that with my wool things. And then at the thrift store, I picked this piece up. And I don't know yet what I'm going to do with it. $2. I couldn't leave it. The funny thing is I have done this exact piece. This is done on 14 count, 2 strands of floss. The one I have, and I want to say I did it in like 1980. It's one of my very earliest cross stitch pieces, and I did it on 22 heart hanger, 22 count, 1 strand, and it's probably, I don't know, a third of the size of this. But I haven't asked my girls, or I would guess somebody would like this. The frame is just a little bit chipped up, but I don't know if that really matters. It just is, it was too cute to leave. And when I asked the price and they said $2, I thought, well, I can't leave it there. I could even take it out of the frame and make a pillow out of it. It's just on a board and it's got tape on the back. So I think I could make a pillow out of it if somebody wants a pillow. I'll have to check out with the troops and see if I have any takers on that. But isn't that lovely? I can't leave it if it's like that. And then I picked this up just because I liked him. He's a crocheted Santa. And I don't know if I care for her so much, but I like him. And I know I have a son-in-law. If I made this, he'd like it. I have a son-in-law that loves Christmas. So he'd be all over that. I don't really need it, but so we'll see. Maybe I'll do that for him sometime. Super cute. And this was, I don't know, quarter or something. Not very expensive. And then here's just a little strawberry pattern from Crabapple Hill. Hey, you know what? I think this pumpkin is from them. It is. Remember, I told you I couldn't remember? I am sure this pumpkin is from Crabapple Hill. Okay? Don't know what it was called, the pattern, but Crabapple Hill. And I'm sure it's out of print, but maybe you could come up with it. And I just got this. There was a little needle case, but it has a strawberry pattern in there. And people are making so many of these little strawberries, you know, and stitching them. And I thought, oh, that might not be a bad thing to have. Then we had some time in Dubuque. And my daughter said there's a quilt store down on Main Street, downtown Dubuque. And it's called the Cotton Cabin. So we went there, and I had never been there. I don't know how long it's been there, but it's a darling little shop. Not huge, but they had a lot of stuff in there. And some fun things. So I picked up just a couple things. I mean, this was like the day before Halloween, but I don't know. I just couldn't resist that. I just thought that was so cute. Little drawstring bag with a jack-o'-lantern face. And I thought, you know, that is obviously a block. So you have a block dimension. You could put a Christmas tree in there. You could put, you could put an Easter bunny, as long as it fit in that same space, you could draw whatever. So I thought that little drawstring bag had possibilities. So I picked that up. And here's an Uncle Sam hat, wool. I thought, oh, he's cute. Like him. And since we're going into the 250th, can we have too many patriotic things? No. The answer to that is no. So, thought that was super cute. And then they had this done up, and this was so pretty. This embroidery. And then I picked up, and this is by Kathy Schmitz, autumn sampler. It's 8 by 10. They have it framed. They had it in the quilt as a small quilt at the store. And then here's the Valdani thread. Color. So super pretty. And that just looked like that would be kind of a, nice travel piece sometime to take, in the car that you could stitch. Cross stitching in the car, unless you're doing something big, I can't do linen in the car, I know that. But, something a little bit bigger I could kind of handle. Oh, and then I was going to show you, this is, I forgot to mention, the pumpkin quilt is out of the book String Frenzy by Bonnie Hunter. And it's on page 78. There you go. So there it is. She did much more gray backgrounds. I don't think I had, well, I just didn't do gray backgrounds. I did darker backgrounds. So, but that's where that is from. And as you know, her pieces are a truckload of sewing for sure. But they're stunning when they get done. I've done a couple of her pieces like for grandkids for high school graduations, or a variation of one that turned out wonderful. And then because of my long arm situation, I wanted to do a couple practice pieces, so if I had a problem, what I had happen was a needle jammed on a customer quilt, which is very bad. It's like breaking a needle. It's bad. Typically, you put a hole in it, and that's what happened. Yeah, it does happen. I'm just telling you, it does happen. I don't care what machine you have. Occasionally, that will happen. But you try, obviously, you try to keep your machine in good repair. And I've not had too much trouble until, like I say, I was breaking needles and then it needed to be repaired. Well, now something it's not adjusted quite right. So I have to take it back. I think when they put it back together, they didn't adjust this one thing quite right. So anyway, all that to say, I needed to do some practice pieces. And I have a basket actually right here behind me, right there on the floor, right there. That is full of panels. And most of them I have picked up at estate sales for hardly anything. And I use them to like stitch out a sample or whatever. And so this happened not to be of that. This was one of my mother's. And this was actually a tablecloth that my mom had made. And so I just put them together, and each little square here or block, I stitched out a different design. So I got to try out several designs, and there you can see the sashing. I did feather sashing and then those little flower sashing. And but I was looking for my machine to act up, and it did stitch these out fine. Jeff and I made, I wouldn't know how many adjustments to this machine, but we also thought we had it in real good shape when I had that trouble with the one customer quilt, and it hasn't done it since. So maybe that was kind of a fluke. Who knows? I don't know. But it's been very stressful for me because I don't want to be wrecking somebody else's work. And people that know me knew I was just about at the end of my rope. It's not been a fun season here. Okay, so then I did that piece, and then I got to thinking, I think I have a whole cloth Halloween kind of mat situation. I think I ought to stitch out that, get a piece of black. Um, you know, you kind of don't want to, you know, if you wreck something, you don't want it to be something that you care about. You know what I'm saying? It's like a customer thing. You don't want it to be something that you really care about. So this is what I did, and this is from My Creative Stitches. It's a Halloween placemat. So that is what I stitched out, and I used an orange. I had this lovely variegated thread, and oh, did it turn out cute. Look at that. Isn't that fun? And it stitched this out just fine. Look at the little border. I'll bring it up there so you can kind of see there. You can see the colors. Isn't it lovely? It just really turned out nice. And then, of course, the jack-o'-lantern and the vine, and there's a spider, and then there's some spider webs, but those little curly cues, and just the variegated thread. It just is lovely. And so this stitched out beautifully, and then I've done 2 baby quilts with no incident. The first baby quilt, it was the one where I had the problem. And of course I have to call the customer. You don't want to make that telephone call. I'll just tell you. But I did 2 more, and I've got a t-shirt quilt in here now. So we'll see. But that's what I'm going to go on to next, Lord willing. And so yeah, it's been kind of the elephant in my living room, in my quilt world. That'd be the way to put it. And it's just not been a fun experience. And yeah, I've not been too thrilled with the way Knowlting has handled things. So anyway, okay, I want to, before I get to that, got a couple more things here. Oh, and then I've got my giveaway too. Got to do that. Okay. This is what I started on. This is number 3 of this series, Peace and Goodwill by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. And this is the Christmas one. So I just finished the fall. I've got the patriotic one done, and this is the Christmas one. And, oh, I forgot I left my little hoop on there. This is not, and I haven't done that much, to be real honest. Let's see, can I... Yeah, that doesn't look good. Here. Do it on here. I've just started in this corner. So I haven't gotten too far. And I'm not going to lie, that white, this is the second color. I'm using all the called for colors, but I got to that light colored one, and the color that she had suggested just didn't show. I think my fabric is a little bit lighter than what, it's hard to tell in a photograph, you know, and I could see what she called it, Tobias linen. So I don't know. I'm not that good with what stuff is. This is 36 count espresso by R&R. So yeah. So this is the second color that I've tried, and I like it, but it's hard to see. It's hard. It's been slow going. That's kind of what I would call kind of that snowflake. There you can see up here. right there is where I'm working. So I've just gotten, you know, a good start on that corner is all. And this is kind of my morning stitch. If I have, you know, time, like an hour, I feel good if I do an hour in the morning, then that's my, I feel good about that. And at some point, I'll probably push it through, you know, to be my primary one. I have several Christmas things I'd like to do. Here, I didn't get my floss. Yeah, what did I tell you it was? It was 36 count espresso, and I'm doing 1 strand over 2. And here we'll do the colors. So it's really lovely things. Really lovely. So that's my Christmas one that I've started to this point. Really, I'm not a big, you're not going to see like me show you 50 starts or, you know, 30 starts, or, you know, people have a lot of bags. That's just not me. I really pretty monogamous. You know, maybe I work on a couple things, but not, I really kind of try and start something and then really get it done. Here is my 250th that I'm working on. And I'm mainly working down here in this corner. And to be real honest, I haven't gotten this as far as I would have, but I really concentrated on those other fall finishes because I wanted them done. And then there was a couple weekends I just did not feel very good. So this is what I work on the weekend. And so this really didn't get very far. So I just actually, I think last night I did these trees, worked on that kitty. So I won't work on it again. Now there'll be another flag coming down here. I would like to get this piece of paper or this chart done on this sheet of paper. That, you know, how you celebrate when you get a, there's, I think, 6 pages of chart. So this would be page number 2, I think. And here it is, American Sampler. That's what it is. So you can see I've done this right there. And that's who it's by. Be careful that you buy directly from her if you're looking for this. I've heard several things about people have ordered this from like a pirating, you know, like a dishonest situation, and they lose their money and no chart. So make sure that you get, you go directly to her and not some other link. I've just seen that on a couple lists, but I just absolutely love working on this. I just love it. And the more I get done, the more I love it. Oh, I mean, what's not to like? And that border, the border is wonderful. It just, and this is, let me tell you, what is this fabric? Oh, golly. I've done better on these, oh, here. I've tried and sewed them on, my fabric. This is Shrekie's Tan, 18 count. So it's like an Ada. It's just what I had that would work when I wanted to start this, because I started this July 4th. So I feel like it's, you know, coming along. And I'm doing one strand. And the called for colors, pretty much, except the tree. My goodness, I got my glasses. The trees are charted, and it's hard to read. The chart is small. I could see where some people would want to enlarge it. It has all these different colors in it, and I didn't want to do that. And I'm starting to do them down here too, because they're across the bottom. So I went into my stash and pulled, it's a different brand. It's called Victorian Motto, and it's called Clover. And so I'm doing the trees. It's got a little variegation to it, and that's how I'm doing the trees. I'm not changing my thread, you know, for all. I think there was like 2 or 3 different greens. And there kind of shows you some of the, and this is all DMC, except for that one, this one. This is a hand dyed. The rest of them are all DMC. So, you know, for floss, you know, that's not, you know, it's not like buying the hand dyeds for all those different colors. So, and then here's the bag that goes in. And this was a piece my mother had stitched. I found it in her things that she'd never finished. And so I just used it and put it in part of a bag. And I did the same here. I think I've showed this before. This was another piece she had done. So I made it into a little scissor pocket. And then I've got a cute little bulb pin. And then I've got a little tag on here that says kind of the story. So, excuse me. So that's what I'm working on right now. Although I may start, you know, another Christmas thing going. So we'll see. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm right at an hour. I had a lot of stuff here. Okay. I am going to, here is what my giveaway is going to be. And then I'm going to talk briefly about this linen from my friend. And hope it helps her. This I had kind of started. I've got the wool all cut out. With the interfacing back here, I've got it all cut out, and it's a Primitive Gatherings pattern. And it's called a Love Sampler. It's 11 by 14. Although it'd be cute to shrink down, you know, if you wanted to make it smaller. So I just decided I wasn't into it that much. And this came also, I think, with some, like I say, I had a bunch of estate sales that I came across of really high quality things. And I'm pretty sure this was part of that. And I just decided, you know what, I could pass this on and let somebody else enjoy it. So if you would like this, please put wool in your comment, the word wool in your comment by November 27th. And I will draw a winner for next time. And you can have a nice little primitive sampler to work on this winter, okay? Let me think. What's the question? Let's have a question about when do you decorate start decorating for Christmas, because there's people that are really big on we don't start until after Thanksgiving, and there's people like me that start earlier than that. So when do you start decorating for Christmas? And if you're interested in this, put wool in your comments somewhere, and maybe one of you will win it. Okay? All right. Now, my friend asked about 30 count and asked about how little that is. And just because of that number, I'm assuming that it is a linen or an even weave of some sort. And I told her, I said, you would need to, that is probably, it doesn't have to be, but it's probably stitched over two. And she wasn't understanding that at all. And I don't know if this picture is going to do it justice, but right there, it's you're stitching over 2 vertical threads and 2 horizontal threads to make a stitch. Okay? And that's what I was doing on that Christmas piece that I just showed you. Golly, where did I put it? Well, I don't want to spend too much time digging with this. Here. I mean, this isn't 30 count. This is smaller, but it's, when I told you I'm doing it over 2, that's what I mean. I'm doing it over 2 vertical threads and 2 horizontal threads. And it's a fabric similar to this. And then I tried to explain, when you do that, it's a 30 count, meaning there's 30 threads per inch. If you're going over 2 threads, you're halving that. So 30 divided by 2 is 15. So going over 2 threads makes it like a 15 count, which would be slightly bigger than, say, here's like a 14 count. It'd be slightly smaller than this. 15 count would be slightly smaller than this. And a 14 count is like, for somebody who's beginning, I would say that's a good place to start. Ada, 14 count, really good place to start. So when I'm telling her this, she's asking if she could do it. Well, 15 count is not bad, but that's not all that difficult. But if you're not used to stitching over the 2 threads, there is an adjustment to that. I'm not going to lie. And some of these age doesn't matter. I mean, they're doing 56 count and 40 count and whatever. For these old eyes, it's an adjustment. When I went back into it, I just really struggled with some linen. I'm slowly kind of working my way back into it because I like the look of it. That's the only reason. There is nothing wrong with you stitching something on Ada. Nothing wrong with it. But sometimes you want things smaller. And so obviously, the higher the thread count, you shrink the piece down. It's like when I told you, here. This is a 14 count Ada, and you can kind of see the holes. And this is very doable if you're starting out. Very doable. I had stitched mine on 22 count, which means there's 22 stitches per inch. This is 14 stitches per inch. And so it shrinks it. My piece is probably like that big, if in between my fingers. This whole piece is shrunk down. I mean, it'd be significantly smaller. If you had a calculator, you could figure it out. And there's charts. Fat Quarter Shop has charts. You put in how many stitches and then the size fabric you have, and then it gives you the dimension of how big your piece would be. And then, of course, you've got to add margins depending on if you're going to frame it or sew it or whatever. And then the other part of that is how many strands of floss you use. 14 count, you would use 2 strands. Now, this was 16 count, and I started out, I think I did just a little bit with 2 strands because I thought I'd need it, and I didn't like it. I thought it was way too heavy. So this has only got 1 strand, and this is 16 count. So some of that is what you like. And of course, when you use a single strand, especially when you're using like these over-dyed flosses, you don't get as much as a DMC. The DMC has a bigger quantity and a whole lot cheaper. You know, you can get a thing of DMC for, what is it? I don't know. Is it 78 cents at Hobby Lobby? I don't know. It's under $1. And then, you know, you get into the hand-dyed, these Weeks, and Classic Color Works, and then Gentle Arts, and I think they're, what, $2.50, $2.75 a piece, and then only 5 yards. I think DMC has, does it say on here, 7 yards? I'm just guessing. Well, I'm not seeing it, but they have more, a lot more. So when you only use 1 strand, then, you know, you're making your hand-dyed flosses, you know, extend that. You use 2 strands on the bigger count, then you're going to go through, you know, a lot of floss. And it would make it, you know, a pricier situation. So I don't know if that helps my friend, and I'll have to tell her that I spoke about it at the very end of the video, and if she wants to hear, and then I told her to just call me. And we do a little tutorial session private, because she lives really close to me, like down the street and around the corner. So, because if she'd like to do it, I'd like to help her get her going. So anyway, well, that's all I have today. I have been blathering on long enough. We'll see what kind of picture YouTube picks for me next week. Oh my gosh, that's just awful. Just awful. Okay, remember, wool. And when do you start decorating for Christmas? And you know what? I forgot to bring down my paper that had like people that had joined, and I've had a lot of people join, and then I don't always get notifications on who all joins. So, yeah, thank you for all the wonderful comments. It's lovely, just lovely. Love hearing from you, and I'm glad you like it. I am what I am. It's uncut and raw, and but I'm glad you get some inspiration and enjoy it. And so we will be back again. I'm not sure when. We've got several things kind of coming up here, and so it'll be several weeks. It probably will be close to a month. But I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks so much for subscribing and liking the video. I'm amazed. Because I don't think it's all that great, but the comments are very, very sweet. So thank you, and we'll see you next time, and bye for now.